And as we've been reporting, a big week for the president and his top priority since taking office. Joining us right now is Reagan economic advisor Art Laffer. And Art, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, sir. What do you think will be going down this morning or this afternoon when the president has lunch with the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell? First, let's talk about that. Then I got to get your take on the Senate vote, opening up the tax reform, and whether or not all these plans get executed.
Well, let me just say your interview with Netanyahu was spectacular, which brings me right to the tax cuts, Maria. Back in '81, the key argument underlying tax cuts and pro-growth agenda was to build a stronger country, to be able to have a stronger defense. And you know you can't have a strong defense and a strong military with a weak economy. And that is, to me, one of the key elements of getting tax reform. When I look at North Korea, when I look at what's happening with Iran, when I look at what Bibi Netanyahu said with you, it's really very important for the future of American security to be able to get that tax rate reduction. And I think a lot of Democrats and Republicans, even like John McCain, should clearly support this bill. The battle we had in 1981 was exactly in this. A lot of Republicans were after me back then, saying that I was taking all the money out of the budget with a tax cut, and thereby leaving Israel stark naked, leaving the defenses of America weak. But that's not true. The growth in the economy really was the key to winning the Third World War without losing any U.S. troops.
Yeah, well, thank you for that, Art. I mean, I think this is a really important connection that you make.
Yes.
The Senate has to bring the vote to the floor this week. You're expecting that, and you are expecting reconciliation. Do you think Democrats are going to be voting here, or is this going to be a Republican tax plan?
You know, I'm hoping the Democrats vote with it. They should vote with it. They believe in it. They want it. What they have to do is to let this partisanship go to that extreme that they'd vote against America is, to me, shocking. I can't imagine a lot of them not voting in favor of the president's bill. I just can't imagine it, but we'll have to see. It's coming soon.
How long does the budget blueprint take? I mean, once they bring the vote to the floor, how long does that take before we actually start seeing the reconciliation process take place? You've been here before.
Yeah, I have been here before. Depending upon how many votes they get for the budget resolution and depending how strong the support appears, it could be very quick or it could be fairly laborious trying to get one vote here, one vote there. I don't think that's going to be the process. I think it's going to pass fairly easily. And I hope to goodness we have a two-party system finally in America and the Democrats join with us and get the tax cuts, which are Democrat based. I mean, this is what Kennedy did. Kennedy was phenomenal in the tax cuts, creating a very strong America. And that's key right now just as well. It's not Republican or Democrat. Everyone knows you can't tax an economy into prosperity. It's just silly, Maria. Oh, it's just got to be done bipartisan.
Right.
Interesting you should say that, Mr. Laffer. Last week we were talking to a former economic advisor in the Obama administration, and all of a sudden you hear all these Democrats turning into deficit hawks. They didn't seem to care in the last 8 years, but you know now this is their top priority. But the question that we had over and over, and I want to know your answer to this, is does cutting taxes actually increase government revenue? Because we're hearing a lot from the Democratic side that any tax cuts have to be revenue neutral, but those who look at it say, look, when you cut taxes, you actually get more money in government coffers.
You know, with the Kennedy tax cuts, it clearly raised revenues over the long period. Clearly did. If we do these tax cuts correctly, and so far the tax bill is very well designed for that, over the coming decade we should raise net, not lower, raise net about $1.3 trillion in tax revenues over the coming decade. So if it is done on an incentive basis, pro-growth agenda, now that does not include deductions, exemptions, and credits. It's the corporate tax rate reduction and what we do with personal income tax rates and the death tax. If we do it correctly, we could raise tons of money from this and make sure America is not only sound but strong and has the defense necessary to keep nuclear weapons out of the hands of the Iranians and to take them out of the hands of the North Koreans.